Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to talk about how to manage the technical areas. On a game, you'll see coaches, substitutes. Sometimes those coaches are just parents. What to do with them? So in this video, we're going to start with some of the things that you need to do even before your game starts. And then we're going to review the laws of the game. And then I'm going to show you a few examples of scenarios as well as actual game clips. And by the end of this video, I hope that you'll have a better sense of what to do if you are the referee or one of the assistant referees or the fourth official when you encounter something that doesn't sound or look right. And you will know exactly how to address those situations. So the first thing to think about before even the game begins is to understand how many coaches are actually allowed to be in the bench area. For example, your competition manual may say no more than 14 bench persons. And then you look at the field and you see 6 bench persons besides the players. You have to do something about this. You can just go to the bench and say the competition only allows you to have up to 4 people. 2 people must leave. And of course, you also have to check their credentials. So first, make sure that you know how many people are allowed in the bench area. But not just that. Who is allowed in the bench area? Look at the picture to the left. Oftentimes, a team may have girls' team and boys' team. And then when girls are playing, boys may come to support the team, the girls' team. And when the boys are playing, girls may come to support the boys' team, which is fine, but they cannot be in the bench area. Look at the picture on the right. The assistant referee is staring at the bench. In this situation, this assistant referee must address this situation. When the game is stopped for throw-in or goal kick or whatever, the assistant referee needs to get the attention of the referee and tell the referee these people must leave. And the referee will remove those who are not allowed in the bench area. So you need to know how many people are allowed in the bench area, but also who's allowed in the bench area. This is such a basic thing, but during the game, all the balls must be stored. Look at the picture. How many balls do you see? You need to be able to identify which balls have been inspected and which balls are not inspected. So the inspected balls are the match balls, the game balls. And then all others must be hidden, stored in the bag, so that we do not mix inspected balls and non-inspected balls. Are the substitutes wearing a penny or different color shirt? Look at the players who are standing in the bench area. These players might have just gotten off the game, but those people need to be wearing a penny or a different color shirt. So these are the things that you must check before the game begins. How many people? Who? Balls stored in a bag? And then make sure the players are aware that when they're in the bench as substitutes, they have to put a penny on. Now, when we talk about bench behavior, we're going to focus more on the coaches, the technical staff, than players. In the past, in Michigan, for youth soccer, we were always allowed to issue a caution or send out by showing a yellow card or red card to, let's say, a head coach or one of the coaches. That was always the case in Michigan. And just recently, FIFA IFAB have started allowing for the referees to give cards for cautions and send-offs. And when you look at Law 12 closely, you will notice that there are 3 levels of disciplinary actions. The first one is a warning. Second one is a caution. And then the third one is the send-off. Now, the warning is a little tricky because a warning can be done in a very casual way. You may say, "Coach, I really want you to stay quiet. You cannot yell at the referee so loudly. This is just a warning. I'm not going to give you a card, but you have to be careful." When you say this, is this a warning in a sense that is described in the law book? Or is this a warning that is more casual, not a disciplinary action? So we have to understand that now we have a warning as a category, so we really have to be careful how we talk to our coaches. If we mean warning, as in what the Law 12 says, but the coach takes it as a more casual sense, there will be misunderstanding. The same thing can happen the other way around. So we're going to talk about some practical advice in a little bit, but now let's just talk about warning, cautions, and send-offs in a way described in the law book. The relevant sections in the law book are Law 5, referees, but also Law 12. Law 12 has a section for players and substitutes and substituted players, but there's also a section for bench personnel. So we're going to focus on the bench personnel part. First, warning. This is what the law book says. The following offenses should usually result in a warning. Repeated or blatant offenses should result in a caution or send-off. So here are the examples of warning. Entering the field of play in a respectful, non-confrontational manner. Failing to cooperate with a match official, for example, ignoring an instruction or request from an assistant referee or the fourth official. Minor or low-level disagreement by word or action with a decision. Occasionally leaving the confines of the technical area without committing another offense. These offenses should usually result in a warning. Now the key word here is of course usually, not always, usually. So we're going to talk about what the word usually means in a little bit. So here's a list of warning. And now let's talk about cautions. The list is a little larger than warning. Caution offenses include, but are not limited to, clearly and or persistently not respecting the confines of their team's technical area, delaying the restart of play by their team, deliberately entering the technical area of the opposing team, dissent by word or action, including throwing or kicking drink bottles or other objects, or actions which show a clear lack of respect for the match official, like sarcastic clapping. Entering the referee review area. This is when you have the VAR, so your game may not really be relevant on this particular bullet point. Excessively showing the TV signal for VAR review. Now, as I said earlier, you don't have a game with a VAR, but a player might still do this. Referee review area is something that you don't have on, let's say, a stake-up match, but a player could still sarcastically do the VAR TV signal. Acting in a provocative or inflammatory manner. Persistent, unacceptable behavior, showing a lack of respect for the game. These offenses should usually result in a caution. Sending off, red card offenses. Delaying the restart play by the opposing team. So caution was delaying the restart play by their own team. If the restart is by the opposing team and if there's a delay, then that's the send-off. Deliberately leaving the technical area to show dissent towards or remonstrate with the match official. Act in a provocative or inflammatory manner. Entering the opposing technical area in an aggressive or confrontational manner. Deliberately throwing or kicking an object onto the field of play. The list continues, entering the field of play to confront a match official, interfere with the play, an opposing player or match official, entering the video operation room. This is not really relevant for youth games in the state. Physical or aggressive behavior towards an opposing player, substitute, team official, match official, spectator, or any other person. That includes ball boy or girl, security, or competition official. On a youth game, this can easily include parents or siblings or guardians, family members watching the game. Receiving a second caution in the same match. Using offensive, insulting, or abusive language and or actions. Using unauthorized electronic or communication equipment and or behaving in an inappropriate manner as the result of using electronic or communication equipment, and violent conduct. So as you saw, the list is quite large. Warning was small, but caution and send-off, the lists were pretty long. And you may know for what offenses a player should receive a caution or send-off. But I don't know how many of you have really closely read the law book to understand the misconduct by team officials. So I encourage you to take a look at Law 12, read it closely, and really understand the difference between a warning and a caution and a caution and a send-off. When you give a send-off to a coach, when a yellow card was the right decision, then that is as incorrect as giving an incorrect red card to a player. So we must know what behavior, what action, what words deserve a yellow card, or red card, or just a warning. Now next, let's think about nuances. When things are written in a way that you can find in a law book or on a slide that, for example, the Michigan Referee Committee might make, the nuances may be lost. So I just want to talk about slight nuance that's really important for you to understand so that you can be effective on a match. So let's think about this. A coach leaves their technical area. The coach leaves the technical area once or twice without committing another offense. By law, this is a warning. But think about it. Sometimes coaches get excited. Some people's voice travels really well across the field. Some people's voice just doesn't. So the coach really gets excited. He or she wants to talk to their player, and then without knowing, they may be outside the technical area. First offense, do you really give a warning? Maybe not. But when you have clearly leaving the technical area or persistently leaving the technical area, then that's a whole different story. You may have to issue a caution there. Or if a coach leaves the technical area deliberately in order to dissent, inflame, or to do something with the opposing team bench, now you may have a send-off. Or a coach disagrees with a decision. It may be the referee's decision, it may be an offside decision. If it's just a minor, low-level decision, all you may have to do is, coach, we got this. It was offside. Maybe that's all you need. But if it continues a little bit, then you might have to give a warning. And then dissent, be aware, is different from disagreement. When dissent happens, give a yellow card. If there's offensive, insulting, abusive language, no tolerance whatsoever. Give a red card. And the Michigan Referee Committee will support your decision. Just report it appropriately. Now here is a set of some practical advice. As I said at the very beginning of this video, the term warning could be used in a very casual way. So be careful when you use that word. But you also have to say, this is a warning to a bench personnel if you are actually giving them a warning. You have to say this is a warning. There's no card to show. So there could easily be a misunderstanding. So make sure that whoever is receiving a warning understands that there was a warning being issued. Do not overreact or look for problems. A coach is outside the technical area by 2 inches. Don't look for problems. But if you have to take action, be confident. If you have to warn, caution, or send off a coach, be confident. If you are a teenager and then you have a coach who's 40, 50 years old, or if you are small in your body shape and the coach is larger, it can be scary. We totally understand that. But be confident. We'll support you. Just keep track of details for your post-match report. Write down exactly what happened, just like you would do for a regular yellow card or red card for players. Keep track of details, and then we can support your decision. A lot of coaches that are experienced will push you just little by little. They will test you. I do this a little bit, and I do this a little bit, I do this a little bit. And before you even know it, they are way out of what they're supposed to be doing. So know where the boundary lines are. Don't let them push the boundaries little by little. Despite what some people might say, you as officials, including the 4th official, you are not their sounding board. You are not there to be either verbally or physically abused. You are not their sounding board. You are not there to babysit. You are there to officiate a match. If there's a behavior that is not appropriate, just address it, deal with it, give them the appropriate sanction. Setup is important. Setup helps your own life. Let's think about how you can set something up. Let's say that on a match, you are thinking about this one particular coach. This coach is being a little obnoxious. You are thinking about warning. You're thinking about warning. You're thinking about warning. 20th minute, now you have to give that person a warning. So you go there and say, Coach, this is a warning. You could do that. Nothing wrong with it. However, 5 minutes prior, you could have gone over to the coach and said, Coach, we've got this. Leave the game to us and you focus on coaching. Anything beyond this could possibly result in warning. Obviously, you don't want to tie your hands by saying next one is going to be a warning, because that's really going to restrict what you can do next. But you can set the situation up and say, Coach, I was here 5 minutes ago and told you that there could be a warning coming. And so now here's a warning. The coach only has themselves to blame. So smart officiating includes setting things up. Now let's think about a more realistic game scenarios. What would you do? I want you to think about what you might do if you're the referee facing one of these situations. A coach tries to give instructions to a player during stoppage of play, and they accidentally step on the field. No other offenses. Technically, a warning. But the first offense, you could just talk to the coach and say, hey, you gotta be careful. Don't get onto the field. That may be all you need. Again, don't look for problems. Do not overreact. A coach hurries onto the field without the referee's permission because their player appears to be seriously injured. Of course, this is a form of misconduct, but would you actually give a caution, let's say? You can simply say, Coach, I appreciate you coming onto the field to help your player. Just let me beckon you next time. If something similar happens, I'll take a look at the player and I'll let you know if I want you on the field. You can manage it without issuing a warning or caution. Coach keeps standing by the touchline, making it difficult for the AR to run up and down. Again, first offense, second offense, just talk to the coach. If it persists, as the law book says, then obviously you can give a warning. Because if coach is standing by the touchline, that person is outside the technical area. Coach throws their notebook to their chair. What would you do? You may want to assess the force of the throw, for example. Or maybe they said something when they do it. Are they just frustrated? Or is that a form of dissent? If a coach throws their notebook to the chair, the default answer is a caution. But not always do you have to caution the coach. Assess a bigger picture. The ball comes out for a throw-in, and the coach tries to kick the ball back to the field, but has a poor touch. The ball ends up elsewhere. If the throw-in was for their own team, that's a caution. If the throw-in is for the other team, that's a send-off. But if it's clear that the coach simply did not have the skill to kick a ball, then do you give a send-off? Again, be smart, be practical. Do not let coaches push boundaries. Do not let coaches take advantage of you, or you being understanding, but be reasonable. Coach loudly says, "Come on, ref," when a call is made against their team. Assess the nature of that statement. How loud was it? Was it provocative? Was this the first offense? Did the coach say it sort of under their breath? Or did they say it to the point that people in the entire complex could almost hear? Assess the bigger picture. Coach yells at the opposing team's coach in a confrontational manner. Now, you're getting to the point where you may not give them the benefit of the doubt. Is there any way we can give them a benefit of the doubt when a coach yells at the opposing team's coach in a confrontational manner? The answer is no. Coach throws their hat onto the field to show their dissent. Benefit of the doubt? Not so much. Coach walks onto the field to the referee to confront them at the start of the halftime. So the referee has blown their whistle, that's halftime. Coach walks onto the field to the referee to confront them. Assess how this confrontation is. Is the coach being respectful? Then there may be a little bit of leeway, not a straight send-off. Maybe you can just caution or warn them. But if the behavior is really confrontational, inflammatory, then you might just have to send that person off. So assess big picture. Coach makes a discriminatory statement against their own player, maybe race or gender-based or something else, discriminatory statement against their own player. No excuse, send them off. Coach uses the tablet to show the replay of an incident to the referee. Hey, you said that was handball, but look at this replay. That is a send-off. No excuse. So on the one hand, we have to have common sense approach. We have to assess the big picture. But we also need to know where strict lines are drawn. Discriminatory comments about opponents, about you, about anyone, including their own player, there is no excuse for that. Throwing an object onto the field, no excuse for that. Inflammatory comments to the other bench, going into the other team's bench, saying something to the other team's bench. Look for the language, look at the language. What are they saying? How are they saying it? No excuse. Again, just report what you saw and what you did exactly how you would with any other cautions and misconducts, send-offs for players. And then we can support your decision. Now let's look at a few examples. This video will sort of show the setup, but also the video of a warning leading to a caution. So look how this referee manages this situation. Now you look at the coaches near the touchline. Look at their gesture. Clear dissent. The referee walks over. The coach is still complaining. The referee is calm, composed, professional. Talks to the coach and says, "Coach, you cannot behave like this. This is a warning." Coach says, "All right, thank you. Look, this is 75th minute in the match." The referee has given them a warning. Just remember, referee will not have to always go through warning, caution, and send-off process. The referee can go straight to send-off or straight to caution without warning or caution first. But in this situation, the referee chose to talk to the coach and give them a warning. And that was the 75th minute of the match. And see what happens next. Next instance is the 93rd minute. Additional time. Look at the same coach. The referee gives a signal. The coach clearly comes outside the technical area, yells at the referee with gestures, very provocative, very confrontational. Now the referee doesn't even need to go over to the coach to talk to them, just show the card. The referee had set up the situation properly. This is a good way to deal with the coach. Here's another example of how you deal with a coach. The coach is not happy with the decision made by the referee earlier in the match. The referee stops the game, goes over. Now you may have some options. Just talk to them or warn them. Either way, look at how this referee is talking to the coach. Professional, calm, composed. "I hear you, but this is not the way you can behave. Be a professional." The coach may still disagree with you. That is okay. You don't have to agree with each other all the time. But be professional, be calm, and issue a warning, or caution, or send off as needed. There's a lot more to talk about in terms of bench management. But in this quick video, we went over some of the basics, things you have to know before the game even starts. The pennies, how many people in the bench, who can be in the bench, all these administrative matters. We also look at the laws of the game to understand what's a warning, what's a caution, and what's a send-off. We looked at some scenarios. First, we look at the nuances, the differences. We looked at some practical situations. A coach rushing onto the field to attend a player who's unconscious versus rushing onto the field to complain to a referee. Completely different scenario. We also looked at 2 videos from one game, how the referee was able to warn a coach and then give a yellow card. Nice setup there. We also ended with a video from Women's Professional League, NWSL, and used the example of the referee who calmly, professionally talked to the coach, very composed. So that is something that you should do as well. Again, you don't have to always give a warning first to give a caution. You don't always have to give a warning and caution before you give send-off. Just be confident with what you have to do. And confidence comes from knowing the laws, knowing the situations and scenarios, and experience. And we are here to support your decision. Make sure you write it down in your referee wallet and report the incident properly to the competition authority. And I hope that this video allows you to manage benches a little better next time than you ever were able to before. So good luck on your next match.